All right, so that's business from last class period. Let's talk about the exam and make sure we're all clear as to what that entails. So we'll talk briefly about the study guide, and then we'll look at the exam format. Study guide has been available online since Friday. Hopefully you got it and you're able to make use of it. It gives you all the things that you need to prepare for the examination, and if you complete the study guide, you'll be ready to go. With regards to the examination, obviously we can characterize it both negatively and positively. In terms of negative characterization, the purpose of the exam isn't to say, ha ha, you don't know this. That wouldn't be fun for you, it wouldn't be fun for me. This is not meant to be an exercise in hazing or pointless memorization and regurgitation of information. Instead, and this is the positive characterization, this is an assessment tool. It is a way for me to measure whether and to what extent you've achieved the course objectives. In other words, there are things that we want to accomplish in this class, and the way that I can tell whether we are accomplishing them is by way of the examinations. And so the examination is a way of evaluating to what extent we are progressing through this material, and we're able to make sense of it, and we're able to make it make sense for us. Good news, I hope. The examination, no surprises. Everything that is on the exam you've encountered in our readings and or discussed in our class meetings. All questions on the exam have been derived directly from the online study guide. In fact, I generate the exam just by taking things off the study guide and putting them on the exam paper. And how do I decide which things come off the study guide and get on the exam? I roll dice. So everything you will have seen before you get in the classroom on Wednesday. If you've read the material and participated in class meetings, that is, you've taken notes, discussed the material with the presenters when they presented, then you can do the study guide, and by extension, you can complete the exam without any problem. Now, the exam has 4 sections. Talk the talk, it's who you know, short answer, and essay. Here's talk the talk. You get 10 questions, 1 point per question for a total of 10 points. You are asked here to define acronyms and technical terms, like what is FTP, what is hard disk, etc. And for the acronyms, you can tell me FTP is a way of transferring files, or you can say FTP is File Transfer Protocol. Both of those are good answers. For hard disk, you can tell me it's, a storage device on the computer, usually where you put the operating system. Now, with regards to the talk-to-talk section, there are right and wrong answers. And obviously, I'm looking for the right answer to the question. It's 1 point per question, so there's no partial credit. You either get it right or you get it wrong. And I would say, give me as best you can what you know in hopes that you get that 1 point. Now, one very important thing. When you define something, you are often told you should not define it in terms that you're trying to define. What does that mean? Well, if I ask you what is the hard disk, and you say the hard disk is a disk that is hard, you've told me something that I already know, right? You've not added anything new. So make sure that when you define these terms, you don't use a form of the word you're trying to define in the definition. And if you do that, you'll steer clear of any trouble. Second section is called It's Who You Know. You get 10 questions, 2 points per question for a total of 20 points. Here you are asked to identify people by indicating the contribution he or she has made to the development of or debate concerning computer-mediated communication. So you'll get names like Tim Berners-Lee, you'll get names like, who else did we talk about? Grace Hopper, right? You'll get all these people, these names, maybe even organizations, because I think I have like IBM and Apple in there. But you'll get these names, and you got to tell me why they're important. And why they're important with regards to what we're talking about in this class with computer-mediated communication. Once again, there are right answers to these questions, and I'm looking for the right answers. But because we have 2 points per question, you can get partial credit, which means you should give me as much as you possibly can remember, even if it is, in your mind, incomplete. That way, you can hopefully get 1 point and maybe even squeak by with 2. Now, once again, think about how you respond here. If you're given the name like Grace Hopper, don't tell me she's a woman. I know she's a woman. Her name betrays that. I need to know why she's important with regards to computer-mediated communication. The third section, you will have 5 short answers. These are worth 8 points per question for a total of 40 points. Here you are to provide short responses in the range of 4 to 6 sentences. So the questions that are asked here, as you can see from the study guide, are questions that have multiple parts, like the 4 generations of computers or the 5 generations of programming languages and that kind of stuff. There are, again, right answers to these questions, and I'm looking for the right answer. But with 8 points per question, there is a whole range of possible partial credit available here, which means if you can only remember 2 of the 4 generations of computers, give me 2. You'll at least get 4 points for that question as opposed to nothing. So give me as much as you have, and make sure that you read the question and you answer it as it is asked. If it says, list and give an example, list and give an example. If it says list and explain, list and explain. Don't leave something out and lose points because you didn't read the whole question. The last section is an essay. You get 1 question. It's worth 30 points. I'll give you 3 options, and you choose which one of those 3 you want to write about. Now, the important difference here from the other parts of the exam is there are not right or wrong answers in this part of the exam. There are only well-reasoned arguments. So you're not going to be evaluated on whether you think what I think you should think. In other words, the way to approach the essay isn't to say, what's the right answer? There is no right answer. The questions I'm giving you are questions that do not have answers. They're problems that can have a number of different solutions or possible ways of looking at them, none of those being right, just being different ways of getting at the same issue. So what you need to do is really come up with a position and argue effectively for your position. So that means before you start writing, have a thesis. What is it you're trying to argue? Then decide on what kind of evidence do you want to use, or what arguments do you want to supply to support this thesis. And then at the end, having a conclusive ending, having some way of concluding the essay so you just don't run away at the end, but we draw it to close and make some sense out of it. Now, for the essay, and only the essay, you may use all the computer tools available to you. You can use spell check, your internet connection, you can use books, you can use notes. Everything is possible. And why do I want you to use all this stuff? Because the answer isn't out there. The answer is in your head. The evidence might be out there, and you might find support for what you're trying to argue by using the internet to find something we read about and quote it, or to find some data in some numbers that you read with regards to some topic. But the answer to the question doesn't exist on the internet. The answer comes genuinely from you developing a thesis and then using these tools to argue for your thesis. The procedure then is you're going to answer questions, sections 1, 2, and 3 on the examination sheet. You're going to turn this into me, and then I'll give you the last section, section 4, which is the essay. You'll go to your computer, you'll turn it on, and you'll write the essay. Sections 1, 2, and 3 will probably take you half an hour, which means you've got basically 45 minutes to do the essay, which means that the exam will take the entire class period, but it won't be more than that. It won't take more than an hour and 15 minutes to complete. Once you finish writing the essay, you'll print it out. I'll staple it to your first through third parts, and we're done. And that'll complete the examination. The way to prepare, obviously, complete the study guide. For parts 1, 2, and 3, use flashcards for your acronyms, your terms, and your people. And this way you can even quiz yourself while you're waiting for the bus. For the short answers, don't just look at them and say to yourself, yeah, I know that one. Because then you get it on the exam and you realize, oh, no, I don't know that one. So actually sit down and write out the short answer responses. Writing them out does 2 things for you. One is the very act of writing is the learning. It means you got it. But 2, you learn how to formulate the response in a way that's easy for you to write and can be mobilized without a whole lot of thought. And it'll maybe take you an hour or so to do this, but if you do that, you'll be adequately prepared and there'll be no problem when you get to the examination. With the essay, there's really no way to anticipate the question, but think about the things we talked about in class where we said this is something that doesn't have an answer. This is something that could have differing opinions about it and that could be argued one way or the other. And that's the kind of way you want to look at what we do with the essay. If you're really afraid of essay questions, I would say take the one that's on the study guide and just do a practice. Just write it up as best you can, just to get the practice of writing the essay, and time yourself and make sure you can fit it into a half an hour to 45 minutes, and if you can do that, you're good to go. So that's all I have. I recognize that we can't take questions right now in this format because this is a pre-recorded video that you're watching online, but if you do have questions, go ahead and email me, or even better, post them to the Facebook page, because chances are if you have a question, other people have the same question, and I can respond to it once instead of responding to it multiple times. But I don't want you to have any question in your mind as to what's going to happen on Wednesday. I want you to be adequately prepared and confident when you walk in the door so that you can do your best work. All right, that's it. Thanks. Stay warm, stay out of the snow, and I hope we see you Wednesday. Assuming that weather is good, we'll be there. All right, bye.